The Lottery Ticket by Anton Chekhov. Ivan Dmitrich. A middle-class man who lived with his family on an income of $1,200 a year and was very well satisfied with his lot, sat down on the sofa after supper and began reading the newspaper. "I forgot to look at the newspaper today," his wife said to him as she cleared the table. "Look and see whether the list of drawings is there." "Yes, it is," said Ivan Dmitrich, "but hasn't your ticket lapsed?" "No, I took the interest on Tuesday." "What is the number?" "Series 9499, number 26. "All right. We will look. 9499 and 26. Ivan Dmitrich had no faith in lottery luck and would not, as a rule, have consented to look at the lists of winning numbers, but now, as he had nothing else to do, and as the newspaper was before his eyes, he passed his finger downwards along the column of numbers. And immediately, as though in mockery of his skepticism, no further than the second line from the top, his eye was caught by the figure 9499. Unable to believe his eyes, he hurriedly dropped the paper on his knees without looking to see the number of the ticket, and just as though someone had given him a douche of cold water, he felt an agreeable chill in the pit of the stomach, tingling and terrible and sweet. "Masha, 9499 is there," he said in a hollow voice. His wife looked at his astonished and panic-stricken face and realized that he was not joking. 9499, she asked, turning pale and dropping the folded tablecloth on the table. Yes, yes, it really is there. And the number of the ticket?" "Oh yes, there's the number of the ticket too. But stay. Wait, no, I say. Anyway, the number of our series is there. Anyway, you understand." Looking at his wife, Ivan Dmitrich gave a broad, senseless smile, like a baby when a bright object is shown it. His wife smiled too. It was as pleasant to her as to him that he only mentioned the series and did not try to find out the number of the winning ticket. To torment and tantalize oneself with hopes of possible fortune is so sweet, so thrilling. "It is our series," said Ivan Dmitrich, after a long silence. "So there is a probability that we have won. It's only a probability, but there it is. Well, now look. Wait a little. We have plenty of time to be disappointed. It's on the second line from the top, so the prize is 75,000. That's not money, but power, capital. And in a minute I shall look at the list, and they're 26. Eh? I say, what if we really have won?" The husband and wife began laughing and staring at one another in silence. The possibility of winning bewildered them. They could not have said, could not have dreamed, what they both needed that 75,000 for, what they would buy, where they would go. They thought only of the figures 9499 and 75,000 and pictured them in their imagination, while somehow they could not think of the happiness itself, which was so possible. Ivan Dmitrich, holding the paper in his hand, walked several times from corner to corner, and only when he had recovered from the first impression began dreaming a little. "And if we have won," he said, "why, it will be a new life, it will be a transformation. The ticket is yours, but if it were mine I should, first of all, of course, spend 25,000 on real property in the shape of an estate, 10,000 on immediate expenses, new furnishing, traveling, and so on. The other 40,000 I would put in the bank and get interest on it." "Yes, an estate. That would be nice," said his wife, sitting down and dropping her hands in her lap. "Somewhere in the Tula or Oriol provinces. In the first place, we shouldn't need a summer villa, and besides, it would always bring in an income. And pictures came crowding on his imagination, each more gracious and poetical than the last. And in all these pictures he saw himself well-fed, serene, healthy, felt warm, even hot. Here, after eating a summer soup, cold as ice, he lay on his back on the burning sand close to a stream or in the garden under a lime tree. It is hot. His little boy and girl are crawling about near him, digging in the sand or catching ladybirds in the grass. He dozes sweetly, thinking of nothing, and feeling all over that he need not go to the office today, tomorrow, or the day after. Or tired of lying still, he goes to the hayfield, or to the forest for mushrooms, or watches the peasants catching fish with a net. When the sun sets, he takes a towel and soap and saunters to the bathing shed, where he undresses at his leisure, slowly rubs his bare chest with his hands, and goes into the water. And in the water, near the opaque soapy circles, little fish flit to and fro and green water weeds nod their heads. After bathing, there is tea with cream and milk rolls. In the evening, a walk or vint with the neighbors. Yes, it would be nice to buy an estate, said his wife, also dreaming, and from her face it was evident that she was enchanted by her thoughts. Even Dmitrich pictured to himself autumn with its rains, its cold evenings, and its saint, Martin Summer. At that season, he would have to take longer walks about the garden and beside the river so as to get thoroughly chilled, and then drink a big glass of vodka and eat a salted mushroom or a soused cucumber, and then drink another. The children would come running from the kitchen garden, bringing a carrot and a radish smelling of fresh earth. And then he would lie stretched full length on the sofa and in leisurely fashion turn over the pages of some illustrated magazine, or, covering his face with it and unbuttoning his waistcoat, give himself up to slumber. The Saint. Martin Summer is followed by cloudy, gloomy weather. It rains day and night, the bare trees weep, the wind is damp and cold. The dogs, the horses, the fowls all are wet, depressed, downcast. There is nowhere to walk, one can't go out for days together, one has to pace up and down the room, looking despondently at the gray window. It is dreary. Even Dmitrich stopped and looked at his wife. I should go abroad, you know, Masha, he said. And he began thinking how nice it would be in late autumn to go abroad somewhere to the south of France, to Italy, to India. I should certainly go abroad too, his wife said. But look at the number of the ticket. Wait. He walked about the room and went on thinking. It occurred to him, what if his wife really did go abroad? It is pleasant to travel alone, or in the society of light, careless women who live in the present, and not such as think and talk all the journey about nothing but their children, sigh, and tremble with dismay over every farthing. Even Dmitrich imagined his wife in the train with a multitude of parcels, baskets and bags. She would be sighing over something, complaining that the train made her head ache, that she had spent so much money. At the stations, he would continually be having to run for boiling water, bread and butter. She wouldn't have dinner because of its being too dear. She would begrudge me every farthing, he thought, with a glance at his wife. The lottery ticket is hers, not mine. Besides, what is the use of her going abroad? What does she want there? She would shut herself up in the hotel and not let me out of her sight. And for the first time in his life, his mind dwelt on the fact that his wife had grown elderly and plain, and that she was saturated through and through with the smell of cooking, while he was still young, fresh, and healthy, and might well have got married again. Of course, all that is silly nonsense, he thought, but Why should she go abroad? What would she make of it? And yet she would go, of course. I can fancy. In reality, it is all one to her, whether it is Naples or Klin. She would only be in my way. I should be dependent upon her. I can fancy how, like a regular woman, she will lock the money up as soon as she gets it. She will look after her relations and grudge me every farthing. Ivan Dmitrich thought of her relations. All those wretched brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles would come crawling about as soon as they heard of the winning ticket, would begin whining like beggars, and fawning upon them with oily, hypocritical smiles. Wretched, detestable people. If they were given anything, they would ask for more, while if they were refused, they would swear at them, slander them, and wish them every kind of misfortune. Even Dmitrich remembered his own relations, and their faces, at which he had looked impartially in the past, struck him now as repulsive and hateful. They are such reptiles, he thought. And his wife's face, too, struck him as repulsive and hateful. Anger surged up in his heart against her, and he thought malignantly. She knows nothing about money, and so she is stingy. If she won it, she would give me 100 rubles and put the rest away under lock and key. And he looked at his wife, not with a smile now, but with hatred. She glanced at him too, and also with hatred and anger. She had her own daydreams, her own plans, her own reflections. She understood perfectly well what her husband's dreams were. She knew who would be the first to try to grab her winnings. It's very nice making daydreams at other people's expense, is what her eyes expressed. No, don't you dare. Her husband understood her look. Hatred began stirring again in his breast, and in order to annoy his wife, he glanced quickly, to spite her, at the 4th page on the newspaper, and read out triumphantly, Series 9499, number 46, not 26. Hatred and hope both disappeared at once, and it began immediately to seem to Ivan Dmitrich and his wife that their rooms were dark and small and low-pitched, that the supper they had been eating was not doing them good, but lying heavy on their stomachs, that the evenings were long and wearisome. What the devil's the meaning of it, said Ivan Dmitrich, beginning to be ill-humored. Wherever one steps there are bits of paper under one's feet, crumbs, husks. The rooms are never swept. One is simply forced to go out. Damnation take my soul entirely. I shall go and hang myself on the first aspen tree. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a little girl named Lily. Lily was 7 years old. She loved stories and books. But there was a problem. Lily could not read English well. She found it hard to understand the words. Lily had a special friend. Her friend was a black and white cat named Whiskers. Whiskers was not an ordinary cat. He could talk. Only Lily knew the secret. One sunny morning, Lily sat under the big oak tree in her garden. She had a book in her hands. The book was about fairies. Lily opened the book and tried to read, but the words were too difficult. "Why are you sad?" Lily asked Whiskers, jumping onto her lap. "I can't read this book," Whiskers, Lily said with a sigh. "The words are too hard." Whiskers purred and looked at Lily with his big green eyes. "Do not worry, Lily. I have a magical idea." Lily's eyes widened. "A magical idea? What is it?" Whiskers smiled. "We will learn English by listening. Listening is powerful. It helps you understand words and how they sound." Lily looked confused. "But how can we do that?" Whiskers jumped down and stretched. "Follow me," he said. He led Lily to a small room in her house. Inside the room, there was an old radio. It was covered in dust. Whiskers jumped onto the table and turned on the radio. A soft voice filled the room. It was reading a story. The story was about a brave knight and a dragon. "Sit here," Lily Whiskers said. "Close your eyes and listen." Lily did as Whiskers told her. She closed her eyes and listened to the story. The voice on the radio was clear and kind. It read the words slowly. Lily listened carefully. She could understand the story better when she listened. After the story ended, Whiskers looked at Lily. "How do you feel, Lily?" he asked. Lily smiled. "I liked the story. I understood it better when I listened." Whiskers nodded. "See? Listening helps. We will do this every day. Soon you will be good at English." Days passed. Every day, Lily and Whiskers listened to stories on the radio. They listened to stories about animals, fairies, knights, and faraway lands. Lily's ears got used to the sounds of English words. She started to understand more and more. One evening, Whiskers had another idea. "Lily, let us play a game," he said. "I will say a word, and you will repeat it." "Okay," Lily agreed, excited. Whiskers said, "Tree." Lily repeated, "Tree." Whiskers said, "Sky." Lily repeated, "Sky." They played this game every evening. Lily learned many new words. She learned words like flower, river, mountain, and butterfly. She also learned to say simple sentences. Whiskers would say, "The sky is blue," and Lily would repeat, "The sky is blue." Lily's mother saw the change in her daughter. "You are getting better at English, Lily," she said with a smile. Lily felt proud. "It is because of Whiskers. He helps me listen and learn." One day, Whiskers had a surprise for Lily. "We are going to the library," he said. Lily loved the library. It was a big building with many books. But she was also a little scared. "What if I cannot read the books?" she asked. "Do not worry," Whiskers said. "We will find books with pictures. You can listen to me read, and you can look at the pictures." At the library, Lily and Whiskers found a cozy corner. They picked a book with bright pictures. The book was about a little bear and his adventures in the forest. Whiskers began to read. Once upon a time, there was a little bear named Ben. Ben loved to explore the forest. Lily listened carefully. She looked at the pictures and followed the story. She could see Ben the bear climbing trees, smelling flowers, and playing with other animals. When the story ended, Lily hugged Whiskers. "Thank you, Whiskers. I love listening to you read." Whiskers purred. "You are welcome, Lily. Remember, listening is a magical way to learn." As months went by, Lily's English improved a lot. She could understand stories better. She could say many new words. She even started reading simple books by herself. One day at school, Lily's teacher gave her a special task. "Lily, would you like to read a story to the class?" she asked. Lily felt nervous. She had never read in front of the class before, but she remembered Whiskers' words. Listening is powerful. It helps you understand. Lily took a deep breath. "Yes, I will try," she said. Lily picked her favorite book. It was the book about Ben the bear. She stood in front of the class and began to read. Her voice was clear and steady. She remembered the words she had listened to so many times. The class listened with wide eyes. They loved the story. When Lily finished, everyone clapped. "You did a wonderful job," Lily the teacher said. Lily smiled. She felt happy and proud. She could read English now, and it was all because she learned to listen. That evening, Lily told Whiskers about her day. "I read to the class today," she said. "They liked the story." Whiskers purred with joy. "I am so proud of you, Lily. You have learned the magic of listening. It has made you strong and smart." Lily hugged Whiskers tight. "Thank you, Whiskers. You are the best friend ever." From that day on, Lily kept listening to stories. She listened to the radio, to her teacher, and to her friends. She listened and learned new words every day. And every night, she read a story to Whiskers. They were the best of friends, and they knew that listening was the key to understanding. And so, Lily and Whiskers lived happily ever after, exploring the magical world of words together.